Have you ever stood in front of a fridge, opened the door, stared inside for a few seconds, closed it, walked away, only to come back 5 minutes later hoping that somehow, this time, something different would be waiting for you? I think we've all done it. And if you're thinking about doing a prolonged fast, moments like these can be terrifying. Because they make you believe something that simply isn't true. You think, if I can't resist opening the fridge now, how could I possibly go 21 days without food? Now, for years, I believed exactly the same thing. I thought every urge to eat meant one thing: I'm hungry. But after almost 30 years of prolonged fasting, I've learned something that completely changed the way I look at food. Now, most of the time, I wasn't hungry at all. It was a craving. And once you understand the difference between those two, fasting becomes completely a different experience. The problem is that most of us have lost touch with what real hunger actually feels like. We eat because it's breakfast, we eat because it's lunch, we eat because everyone else is eating, we eat because we're stressed, bored, because it's already dinner. Sometimes we finish a meal and 10 minutes later we are already thinking about dessert. Not because our body suddenly needs more energy, but because our brain has learned a routine. Eventually, every desire to eat starts feeling exactly the same. So when people imagine a prolonged fast, they imagine fighting unbearable hunger every waking minute. That fear alone stops many people from ever even trying. And that's a shame. Because if you never learn the difference between hunger and cravings, you'll spend your entire life obeying signals your body never actually sends. You'll start another diet, and you'll quit another diet. You'll start intermittent fasting just to break it. You promise yourself, Monday will be different, and repeat the cycle again. Not because you're weak, but because nobody ever taught you the language your body is speaking. When I completed my very first prolonged fast almost 30 years ago, honestly, I expected that the hardest part is going to be hunger. Instead, something really surprised me. Because after the first few days, my stomach became remarkably quiet. The constant physical hunger I feared simply wasn't there anymore. But something else kept showing up. I'd walk past the kitchen and suddenly I'd think about freshly baked bread or chocolate or how good a family dinner would taste like. Not because my body needed those foods, but because my mind expected them. That's when I realized something I will never forget. I wasn't fighting my stomach, I was fighting my habits. And since then, I've completed prolonged fasts almost every year. I've done 21-day fasts and I've even completed some 42-day fasts. I've had wonderful days and I've had bad days where I wanted to quit. Every single fast has taught me the same lesson. Your stomach becomes quiet long before your habits do. Maybe you've already tried fixing this. You've tried intermittent fasting, counting calories, low carbs, healthy snacks, drinking coffee, chewing gum, keeping yourself busy, all of it using your willpower. And sometimes those things help for a while, but eventually the cravings come back. Why? Well, because most people are trying to solve cravings as if they were hunger. They aren't the same thing. Hunger is your body asking for nourishment. Cravings are your brain asking for an experience. Comfort, routine, pleasure, distraction, reward. Eating something healthy doesn't always solve that, because your body wasn't asking for calories in the first place. Here's the mindset shift that completely changed the way I approach fasting now. Real hunger grows slowly, when cravings appear almost instantly. Real hunger is happy with almost any food, when cravings usually want something very specific. And real hunger gets stronger over time, when cravings often disappear if you simply don't feed them. Once I understood this, I stopped panicking every time I wanted food. Instead, I became curious. So here's a simple exercise I'd love for you to try this week. The next time you catch yourself saying, I need to eat, pause. Don't eat immediately. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, would I happily eat plain boiled potatoes? Or yesterday vegetables, or something simple that isn't exciting? If the answer is yes, it's probably hunger. If you're thinking, no, I only want pizza or chocolate or chips, that's probably craving. Second, did this feeling arrive suddenly or has it slowly been growing over the last hour? Now, cravings usually arrive like flipping a light switch. Hunger slowly knocks on the door. And third, can I wait just 20 minutes? Drink some tea, go outside, read a few pages, or call a friend. If the feeling fades, there's a good chance it wasn't hunger after all. Now, don't try changing your eating this week. Just observe. Become a scientist. See how often your brain says, I'm hungry, when what it really means is, I want comfort. That awareness alone can completely change your relationship with food. Now imagine 6 months from now. You walk into the kitchen, you open the cupboard, you see your favorite snacks, you smile, close the cupboard, and walk away. Not because you're forcing yourself or because you're using incredible discipline, but because you genuinely don't care. That is freedom. That's what begins to happen when you stop confusing cravings with hunger. And it's one of the most unexpected gifts prolonged fasting has ever given me. Not just losing weight, not just better health, but finally understanding my own body. If there's one thing I hope you remember from today's video, it's this. The moment you learn to tell the difference between hunger and cravings is the moment food starts losing its control over you. And before you go, I would love to learn something from you because I think we can all learn from each other's experiences. Think about the last time you couldn't resist eating something. What was it? What was happening at the time? And looking back, do you think it was real hunger or do you think it was just a craving? I would genuinely love to read your story because every single comment you send, you are helping somebody else realize they're not struggling alone. I'll see you again in the next video.